SBC Media.
Brazil, a global economic powerhouse, deeply passionate about sports, and now home to one of the hottest markets in gaming. And we're giving it the full SBC treatment. Join industry leaders, market experts, and all the major players in the country for 3 days of content, exhibition, and epic networking at the first ever SBC Summit Rio.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
The Premier League's leading position as the biggest sports draw in the UK was further solidified this month through an extended partnership with Sky Sports, TNT Sports and the BBC. The newly signed TV broadcast deal will see more televised games than ever before, jumping from 200 to 270 live matches per season. And Premier League clubs will continue to get richer, as the new deal is valued at an astonishing £6.7 billion, a British TV deal record. So welcome to today's episode of iGaming Daily. I'm Callum Williams, and I'm here with my Insider Sport colleagues Viktor and Ted Orme-Claye to talk about the significance of this media deal for sporting stakeholders, including those in the betting space. So how are you both doing today, Vic?
I'm all right, mate. I'm just freezing. But I'm good. Thank you for having me.
It's that time of the season, isn't it, mate? I know. And Ted, how are you today?
Yeah, not bad as well, thanks, mate. Also, like Victor, struggling with a cold a bit. But, we're about halfway through winter, aren't we? So we've got something to look forward to. But looking forward to getting more into this deal. It's quite an interesting topic for us to have a chat about. So, you gave us quite a thorough breakdown there, really. But I was just wondering if you could give us a bit more details on, like, what does this deal mean for the Premier League and especially, obviously, its exposure in the home market of the UK? Yeah,
Ted. So it's like I said, it's a record deal in the UK, a record TV deal, I should say, in the UK, and it just solidifies the Premier from what we've known for quite several years now, that the Premier League is the most valuable, the most watched football league in the world and across Europe. Its previous deal, the 5.2 billion, trumped every other European top league then, and this 6.7 billion figure just continues with that trend. When the deal was announced, I was a bit surprised that there was no Amazon included, which may come as a welcome to football fans in the UK, because it just means less money we have to pay out for other services. But yeah, that was quite surprising considering the digital streaming era that we're leading into. But yeah, no, the 200 live games now to 270 live games per season. It just means that there's more football on TV. I know the Sunday games, where the Europa League teams usually play on a 2 o'clock PM games on a Sunday, they're now going to be televised. So yeah, it's just more football for UK fans. So it's quite big. Really big.
If I can chime in a bit as well, it's quite a significant deal. The Sunday games that we will see could get a bit of a backwash from fans, because in a case where there's a Euro qualifier from the Thursday before, so the games might move around from Sunday to another day. But I'm sure clubs will make sure that they refund the fans' tickets, so they're gonna put extra measures in place. And also, I think that the Premier League will have an even more significant role in UK society, because as we said, the deal is valued at £6.7 billion. So not only the league is going to grow bigger, the clubs are going to grow with it, and the value that they give back to society is going to grow with that as well, because from what we understand, the deal entails that £1.6 billion from those 6.7 will be given to grassroots sports in the UK over just a 3-year period. So you can imagine how important this is for the home scene, for the football home scene. So yeah, I think it's quite a significant deal as well. Moving on to the next question, actually, I want to ask you guys, do you think that the Premier League after this deal has been designated as the undisputed champion of the betting markets?
Yeah, I'd certainly say so. I think building off both of what you guys have said, you, Victor, talking about, the significance of the Premier League in society, and Callum, you talking about the sort of the exposure of it and its status as like the biggest league in the world. Yeah, the Premier League, if we're just going to focus on the UK, it's cemented itself as probably being the biggest betting market. In fact, football in general has been the biggest betting market in the UK since I think around 2018, maybe 2019, when it took over horse racing. And yeah, just it's obviously got massive viewership, massive following, and people love to bet on it. The other thing as well, we've talked about the just more games being on TV. That then means that people at home might be more likely just to chuck a couple of quid on, put a bet builder on it to be more engaged with it. We've seen football really driving a lot of its sort of innovation in betting over recent years, like with the bet builder. That is a predominantly football focused product. I know it's now available on other leagues and other sports, but that really started off as just being something that was created for the football fan. Probably in response to the fact that bookmakers were seeing how much money was going on the sport in comparison to some of the more traditional ones. You can obviously get multiple bet types on a game. It makes it very popular. You can, you're not just betting on who wins. You can bet on goal scorers. You can bet on the actual score itself. You can bet on over under. How many cards is someone going to get? Yeah. It's like it's popular for so many reasons. And this added exposure it's now going to get through there being more games on the TV. It being more accessible is only going to build on that. As well as we're talking about the international brand. You go to other countries, people will obviously still bet on their home national league, but the Premier League, like we're based in Manchester City, Manchester United. You go down the road, you've got Liverpool and Everton. These are huge brands, international brands that are built up, and people in other countries outside of England still love to bet on them.
Yeah, I think Ted said it the best, really, to be honest. Just to piggyback on what he was saying, I mean, like the wealth and the exposure that the Premier League gives, not just in the UK, but all around the world. It really is a global brand at this point. And you've got TV, like the Premier League are even securing TV deals and big money TV deals and, the likes of America, and they have deals in place with DAZN in places like Spain and other European markets. So it's a worldwide product at this rate. But just to fall back on, is it being the champion of betting? I mean, I think you see it quite clearly every Super Sunday, with the advertisement as well, and just the amount of people that down the road, when you with your mates, and they might be putting on a bet themselves. Like there's so many player props you can choose from now. It's quite amazing. Well, it's quite incredible to see how the amount of growth there's been in digital betting as well, and that's also a case of just digital betting itself on the phone and online. It's just grew astronomically, hasn't it, from the past couple of years.
Absolutely. I mean, you see the visibility of it on the high street as well, don't you? You see any retail bookmaker in the UK on a Sunday, chances are they will have a poster in the window saying we're offering these odds on whatever, the 4 o'clock kickoff game. Just talking about the visibility of the league, though, and then also as extension, the visibility for operators who have partnerships with these clubs. Obviously, we've got this voluntary ban on front of shirt sponsorships coming up. It's 1 year into this new partnership.
It comes into effect at the end of the first. So the new TV deal kicks off the 2025-26 season, and then the front of shirt sponsorship ban will then kick in after that season. So it will come in after the end of the 25-26 season.
So, that obviously, timing-wise, will pose a bit of an interesting one for the operators involved in this. I mean, I'm interested in your guys' opinion on how much do you reckon that will impact the marketing value to the bookmakers?
Oh, yeah. I think it's a really interesting... the way it's fell in line with this broadcast deal. I mean, we just look at the rest of Europe. Spain and Italy have a widespread ban on that. Whilst the UK, the Premier League, for instance, they're only really doing this front of shirt sponsorship ban. But shirt sleeve sponsorship is still allowed for gambling companies. I still think we're going to see activations on the pitch in terms of, advertisement on the boards, advertisement, around the stadium. So, but it definitely may hamper because, the front of shirt is probably the most widely visible sponsorship a gambling operating brand could have. So there will be some knock-on effect from that. But in terms of other avenues of advertisement and sponsorship for gambling operators, I I still think there is multiple areas, multiple avenues for them to go down in terms of activations across the stadium, and obviously as well on the shirt sleeve as well. So I think there's still a lot of avenues for them to, sponsor to get their sponsorship and advertisement.
Yeah, like Callum mentioned, the ban is only referring to front of shirt sponsorship, so the brands are still going to be visible on the team's jersey sleeves, as well as the LED screenings across the whole stadiums. Which is pretty big in terms of visibility. I think they will remain as visible as before, the operators' brands. One thing that actually I noticed is that the ban, as we know, is voluntary ban. So this means that whatever the Premier League and its clubs and DCMS, which is the Department of Culture, Media and Sport, whatever they discussed behind closed doors, we don't know what they did behind closed doors. So in terms of conversation, they might have accepted a temporal decision, so just so that they don't get imposed a legal ban, as in Italy and Spain and whatnot. We can see that the relaxed rules around the ban are evident, especially from the deadline for the phase-out, which is the 25-26 season. And there's still ongoing partnerships happening. We have the Nottingham Forest in Cayon, we have Fulham and Esbotop, we have Burnley and W88, we have Aston Villa and BK8. These were all achieved this year. So yeah, you can see that it's not particularly a very restrictive ban. There's still workarounds. Something that also I've noticed is that although they're not in the Premier League, Leeds United has also have a betting partner in the face of Unibet. However, this is only for their training kits. So something similar might happen in the future as well, where the teams don't have betting partners on their main playing kits, but on their training kits, which is, again, enough of exposure because pictures are going to be getting uploaded on social media from training stations and so on and so forth. So you might not have that live game aspect, advertising opportunities there, but there's plenty of other avenues to explore. And last point I want to make before we move on is that the Premier League reports, the media reports regarding the ban was that the Premier League is working with other sports for the development of a new code for the so-called responsible gambling sponsorship, which is a term that we will see come up in the future more often and often. In my head, this means that there is a potential opportunity for gambling operators to still land front of shirt sponsorships with teams. However, put the focus on gambling harm reduction initiatives instead of promoting the gambling brand itself. So, for example, it's not the Premier League again, but we have the partnership between Rangers and Kindred, where they focus on the 0% initiative. I think that this is something that betting operators are gonna explore in the future as well as a means of indirect, sponsorship Premier League teams, because at the end of the day, the Premier League is like the biggest, like we just discussed, the biggest league in the world. There's a lot of money going on, so I don't think they will want to lose on that opportunity at all.
Yeah, you make a good point there, Vic, mate. Like in terms of like the lower league clubs as well, like in terms of Burnleys and such, they will do rely on that revenue from sponsorship and such forth. So. But in terms of advertisement, like we said, as previously mentioned, Sky Sports and TNT were the only selected TV broadcasters for live game domestic rights. So there's no renewal in place for Amazon anymore going further until the end of this new broadcast deal, which ends in 2028-29 season. So will this prove to be a burden for operators looking to expand, broadcast advertisement opportunities, because there's only two live broadcasters now for Premier League games? So will this impact it, Ted?
Yeah, it's an interesting question, and like you said earlier, I was like you. I was surprised that Amazon weren't included in this because they've been involved in it for a few years now, haven't they? And I think that it's always valuable to have some diversification with your exposure and with your audience. I think in my opinion, one of the benefits that Amazon brought to the table was certainly kind of reaching younger demographics who might, like students, for example, who might not be they don't want to pay for Sky Sports and TNT Sports packages, but they still want to watch their teams. So, and they're more likely to have, say, Amazon Prime Video, which they'll watch those matches when they're on. So I was quite surprised. I was surprised at that. And the operators, they'll as an extension, they'll lose some of the advertising exposure through that. But on the other end, obviously, Sky and TNT always had the lion's share. TNT, obviously, formerly being BT, they always had the lion's share of all the broadcasting and the exposure. The bulk of the audience watches that. So in the long run, I don't think it'll affect them too much. And I mean, Victor mentioned, the code of conduct on sponsorship and things like that, and and we just talked about the Premier League sort of self-imposed phase out of the sponsorships. That's really the main thing that I think will obviously impact operators' exposure, which will then be obviously appearing on the TV screens. So overall, I don't think the lack of inclusion of Amazon will obviously limit it a bit, but the overall impact I don't think will be too severe.
Yeah, because there's also this kind of disgruntlement, I would say, from football fans across the UK right now. We're paying too much for Sky and TNT, BT Sport in itself, and then you also have to pay a subscription for Amazon. So I think football fans would genuinely feel satisfied that they don't have to fork out some more money to go with Amazon. But Vic, I'll ask you, with the current trend of like streaming and digital streaming platforms are really taking off over these past several years, and with the new deal expected to end in 2028-29, do you think the Premier League are going to get left behind in terms of the digital streaming era when it comes to the end of this broadcast deal?
No, I don't think so. Talking about strictly the domestic market, I think the football has been on the TV screen long before the digital era. So TV broadcasters know what they're doing. They've been in the game for a long time. They know how to attract attention. They know how to grow their audience. The Premier League knows that as well. So I think it's going to be a very fruitful partnership between Sky Sports and TNT, as it always in the Premier League, as it always been. So the Amazon not getting the rights, I think it's not a big deal in terms of the domestic market, like I say, because when you compare Sky Sports and TNT to Amazon, they are more integral to the fabric of UK society than Amazon. So they're well better integrated, So I think they're better services overall. This is my own personal opinion, minuscule effect, because the brands are going to be visible throughout the match, throughout the 90 minutes anyways. And those who want to advertise consistently, those operators who want to advertise consistently already, and who have the funds to do that are already big enough, and those smaller ones who want just a one-off campaign can go look into other alternatives. So, that's what I think.
No, I agree with what you said there, Vic, mate. I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for gambling operators at the moment still in football, but then there's also some drawbacks like the frontership, sponsorship, and limited TV distributors, streaming distributors at the moment. I personally think with the whole no Amazon deal, I do think that they are kind of almost going to leave behind a younger generation of fans. Don't get me wrong, Sky Sports especially has such an integral and integrated relationship with the Premier League now for the past over 30 years that I think fans have just come accustomed to watching Sky Sports, Super Sunday, etc. But I think they could be in danger at the end of the decade where they could be lagging behind some of the other world leagues like the NBA, looking into streaming, NFL, such forth. They have, really lucrative deals with streaming platforms. So, I think it's very intriguing to see what was going to happen in the Premier League for the next decade on. So I think that's all we have time for, boys, for today's iGaming Daily. Ted, Vic, thank you for joining us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.
SVC Media.